Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. This is the post-fight review for the Agit Kabayel and Evgenios Lazaridis fight from Magdeburg, Germany. Also, at the back end of the video, I'll cover off Peter Kadiru. He got a win. Also, Collins Ojal, a third heavyweight fight on the card. He won too. So we'll start with the main event though. This was Kabayel returning after 16 months. And he was against Evgenios Lazaridis. It was a dominating performance overall. Comfortable points decision to Kabayel, who for the most part looked decent. There's a couple of issues which I'll get to soon, but it became apparent early on there was a gap in class. And also Kabayel seemingly didn't respect the power of Lazaridis, just really walking through shots to get his own work away. So he demonstrated a decent chin, but he won't be able to just try to walk through other heavyweights at a higher level in the division. He was actually unusually aggressive from previous fights. You know, he was just stalking forward, willing to take shots to get his own work away. But it was an effective strategy against this opponent. So the cards, it was 100-90, 99-91, and 98-92. I found that, 98-92 card very quizzical because I couldn't find 2 rounds for Evgenios Lazaridis. My card was 100-90. The first round, it was relatively competitive, but I gave it to Kabayel, so maybe that was the round that 2 of the judges gave that to Lazaridis. But the second round, I just can't find it anywhere because it was a case of diminishing returns round by round for Evgenios Lazaridis. Kabayel pushing the pace, making Lazaridis work, and it was taking its toll. By the third round, he was breathing heavy. By the fifth round, he looked pretty much done. And by the sixth round, it was resembling a target practice in there. But I guess one of the issues this fight highlighted, Agit Kabayel, good boxer, good movement, good skills, but there is a bit of a lack of power because at no real time, even though Lazaridis was almost out on his feet by the end of the fight, and I mean, arguably they could have thrown in the towel with a couple of rounds to go, but it was clear how this was going. And in the 10th round, his trainer looked like he was about to throw in the towel, but then decided against it. So it went the distance, and I think Kabayel will be better for the rounds, but that power issue at the top level, at the elite level, that will be something that could be an issue. He's going to have to outbox his opponents and be more defensively responsible. For this fight, he seemed happy to basically take whatever Lazaridis was throwing at him, and that wasn't much. By, round 6, 7, 8, 9, it all resembled the same. Kabayel stalking forward, just putting a beating on Lazaridis. There were moments where you sort of thought, Kabayel just needs to focus a bit more. He could have been more defensively responsible, hands down. He started to clown Lazaridis at one point, but he obviously felt things were in hand. He wasn't really cutting off the ring that well, and that was something his corner was saying, look, you need to cut off the ring, you need to push the output a bit more to try and get him out of there, because they wanted the stoppage. That was some of the instruction coming from the corner, sort of in that second half of the fight. And in that second half of the fight, Kabayel's output, it dipped a bit. He was still easily outworking Lazaridis, but from the first few rounds where he was really pushing the pace, it did sort of slacken to some degree, and that's probably why Lazaridis survived. Later in the fight, he was sort of going into that Kevin Johnson mold where, an odd shot was coming back, but mostly he was just trying to stay out of the way if he could, but, failing oftentimes as well. But overall, yeah, it was an okay performance from Agit Kabayel. Good to see him back in the ring. He advanced to 20-0. He picked up a WBA Continental title. It was vacant, so, another WBA title is off to a fighter. Probably, we didn't need to have that on the line, but it'll be interesting to see what actually happens next with his career. With the pandemic right now, that's going to influence what happens. He is on a co-promotional deal with ESPN and Top Rank, meant to be fighting in the United States, but because of what's going on, he can't. So I wouldn't mind seeing another fight scheduled, and hopefully in the next, 2 to 3 to 4 months, something like that. Not another year out of the ring, because he's done that since 2017, since beating Derek Chisora. Then he had a year out. Then he fought Rovkanen, had another year out. Fought Andrei Rudenko, had another year out, and now has fought Evgenios Lazaridis. So he's got to stop that. He actually needs to, get his career rolling. Still young enough to make an impression on the division, and I like his talent level. And when he does decide to be defensively responsible, which he's demonstrated in previous fights, he looks really slick. The power, maybe that's a question, and he's probably going to have to box 2 decisions against guys that he faces at the upper echelon of the division. But that doesn't mean that he can't. And I do like his talent level. Hopefully they actually get something scheduled soon, and maybe Mariusz Wach, maybe that could be an opponent. That fight was made for earlier this year, but was cancelled due to the pandemic. Wach fought Kevin Johnson recently. Maybe he would be willing to face Agit Kabayel. He did mention that after his win over Kevin Johnson, so hopefully they could maybe get that on again. And that is a sort of somewhat of a step up, a little step up from Lazaridis, but not much. I mean, ultimately Kabayel's probably going to do something similar to Mariusz Wach, outbox him over a number of rounds. He will push the pace and do the same thing and gas him out to some extent. And Mariusz Wach, over 40 now, will have to, I think it would be another wide points decision. But it will be interesting this year if he fights again. If it's not Wach, who's he going to be in the ring with? Because it'll have to be, no doubt, a European opponent because of what's going on. But if we get to the other fights on the card, so there was Peter Kadiru, that was against late stand-in opponent Eugene Bushmuller. That was, he stepped in for Ruben Wolf, who pulled out. Overall, I wasn't really that impressed with Peter Kadiru. It was another sort of safety-first performance. He's got talent and skills, you can see that, but I was talking to someone actually on social media, on Twitter, in a direct message, and they sort of said there's that sort of Huey Fury vibes about Peter Kadiru, and I thought, actually, that's a good point, because you watch the fight, it doesn't really impress me. He manages to win the rounds, and this one here actually ended after the 3rd round. His opponent, Bushmuller, who was game, he did have some ability, but in the 2nd round, he was trying to land a combination on Peter Kadiru, sort of tracking him down. Kadiru actually got a right hand in that exchange, and this is the screenshot of that. But he injured it. It was hard to say what it was to begin with, either a bicep or a shoulder. And he had to actually have some attention from the doctor at ringside, who sort of worked on whatever was going on there, and he continued for that round. Ultimately, though, after the 3rd round, and this wasn't a very exciting fight, it was very low volume. Peter Kadiru, in my opinion, again, failed to impress. He sort of, that style that he's bringing back from his amateur days isn't really translating over to the pros. I mean, I was saying to the person that I was talking to on social media that there's a couple of things that help you in good stead in the heavyweight division. One is having an exciting style, and the other is having an exciting personality, because you can help offset the other if you don't really have an exciting style. And Peter Kadiru was sort of 0-2 on that front. So, it's hard to see him building a fan base outside of Germany based on his efforts so far. But as I was mentioning, I kind of got off track there. Peter Kadiru, after the 3rd round, gets the win because Bushmuller retires on his stool due to that injury. And they were indicating it was a shoulder injury of some description. Yeah, overall, I mean, some nice jabs. There was the odd counter, but, it was a pretty minimalist type of effort from Kadiru. And I'm, on the basis of what I saw in that fight and previous fights, I can't really sort of say that, this guy is, a real talent to watch and he's going to go all the way. But I don't want to completely write him off or anything like that, because he is still very young, 23. He's only got 8 fights on his ledger at the moment, and there's time to build and improve and get better, and hopefully he can. I'll reserve judgment to some extent for now, but I wasn't that impressed. And the 3rd fight on the card, I'll just bring up my notepad here. This was Collins Ojala. This was against Georgij Fibic. This was the first fight on the broadcast card. It was a club level type fight. It was actually relatively sort of entertaining for about the first 30 or 40 seconds. And then after that, Collins Ojal, who obviously didn't like some of what he was getting from Fibic, decided, well, I'm just going to sort of stick to my knitting here. He used his height and his reach, used his advantages. He was clearly the better boxer as well. And ultimately, when he was boxing, Fibic couldn't really do too much. And ultimately, it went the distance in a pretty ho-hum fight, and Collins Ojal got the decision. But it was one of these sort of things. It was the biggest stage that he'd fought on, and you could say it was probably a bit of a missed opportunity. I don't know if he really delivered the sort of performance where you'd sort of get fans going, I want to see this guy again. But he advanced to 4-0, and Fibic takes his first loss. So that card in Germany, 3 heavyweight fights, wins for Kabayel, Kadiru, and also Ojal. What did you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.